good. It's my second day here at IMS. I had a workshop here yesterday for Beatport, and I love the island. It's kind of like my second home by now, and it's nice being back here. And the weather is clearing up, so I'm I love letting the people into my creative world. So that's exactly what I did. The workshop was all about how I play live, how I set up my live show, and then I ended it off with a 2-song live performance. And it was just super inspiring to have all of these people here, get asked all of these questions, and yeah, invite them into my world. And I got to premiere a new song that I released today on Crosstown Rebels called We Will Forgive Ourselves.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That it's on Crosstown Rebels, so Damien Lazarus's label, and it's so funny because I just met him like a couple months ago in Berlin, which is where I'm from, because we were playing at Watergate Club together, and you know, we got along super well at the artist dinner, and then he hit me up like a week later and he was like, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I've always been a huge fan of his. I want to get you on my label." And then I was like, okay, of course. Went straight into the studio. I had like a rough song idea laying around, but that was really my motivation to finish it. And he loved the song. He also did a remix of it, which is going to be out in 3 weeks. MK also did a remix, which is super huge, of course. So yeah, it's been an awesome experience with him and with the song. Such an opportunity at the same time, I think. I mean, of course, especially in the beginning, it's super hard because a lot of people don't believe you when you say that you do write and produce and do all of these things that are stereotypically more male professions, especially producing. I mean, I think 2% of all producers are women, which is very, very sad. You're also, of course, sexualized a lot, you know. I'm always the only girl at the artist dinner, it's only dudes there, and yeah, you have such a big chance nowadays to kind of pave the way for, you know, future women to come, any group that's underrepresented, to kind of, whether you want to or not, act as in bringing more representation into the business, also making diversity a priority, only working with festivals or whoever that have a diverse roster, that have a diverse lineup. Really make it a topic, make it a conversation, and talk about it as much as you can. And I think we're really slowly but surely moving in the right direction. And I mean, I wouldn't change it. I love being a face for something like that. And if I inspire just one little girl to pick up, you know, her laptop and download Ableton or whatever, then my job is done. I mean, I'm working closely together with Ableton actually to get production, make it less intimidating for young girls or queer communities, to create safe spaces, to make it accessible. And yeah, that's really a passion of mine, and I hope I can be part of the change and part of the movement. Oh yes, that's a big thing. I can finally announce it. Ever like 3 days ago, they told me, okay, you can talk about it now, because it was a big secret before. But I'm playing now once a month, Saturdays with Black Coffee and Damien Lazarus at High here in IBIZA, which is so special. I actually just spent 2 months here on the island, January and February, escaping the Berlin winter, but also making an album. I went here exactly with the goal of creating from 0 to 100, at least 10 new songs. I really wrote and then recorded and produced 11 full songs from start to finish. Just 2 months.
Wow.
I know. I was super inspired. I was watching the Beatles documentary. I don't know, as a musician, you're so like just energized and like almost like electrified and want to get your fingers to a keyboard and write something. And it was a really beautiful process, and I actually named the album after the area in Ibiza where I made it, which was San Jordi. And yeah, I'm super excited for it to be released later this year. I think think Potinac, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, like really up in the north. I went on a hike with a friend there to this crystal coast thing where you were walking on crystals, and like if the sun was hitting just right, like everything around you was just glistening, and it was so beautiful and so magical. Don't have a clue where you are. I mean, making music for me came from writing poetry very young. I started at like 5 years old writing my own poems because my grandpa's also a poet, and I've always been super into words. Back then it was already in English, even though my mother tongue is German. But yeah, that was kind of my way of expressing, you know, what was inside. I kind of combined this thing of writing poetry that I was still doing anyways, and also my love for playing the piano, because I also started playing the piano at 5, like every other Asian kid.
Yeah.
It's either the piano or the violin. And exactly, I combined the two. I taught myself like the 3 or 4 basic chords on the piano, and then kind of just sang my poetry on top and wrote very abstract songs. And then got more and more into traditional songwriting with song structure. Electronic influence really came from being in Berlin. Hearing electronic music, you know, really pumped from every single like corner of the city, of course it influences you. So I first of all downloaded GarageBand, then Ableton on my laptop, and kind of, I don't know, just taught myself, I guess, basic like song production, got more into the genre, started thinking less in traditional songs but more in, you know, vocal hooks, because my main instrument is still my voice. I started playing live literally in the middle of the pandemic, which is like a weird place to start, because like my first gigs were all streaming gigs, which is such a sign of the times, and it's also a little like scary because everything is recorded. Like usually like your first gigs are when you make your mistakes obviously and stuff, and all of that, you know, usually just happens, you forget about it, it's like done. But with me, everything's out there somewhere. My first ever gigs, nerve-wracking. But yeah, it was also like an opportunity for me to play live, because so much got canceled that then again, when something was able to happen, I did like get a few slots. I started playing a lot with Jan Blomqvist, who's a friend of mine, and also with Booker Shade, who are my mentors. I played my first gig with them in Berlin. They're like both huge inspirations for me, and I'm so like lucky to have them in my circle and have them as like creative collaborators. And yeah, then I've just been playing a lot 2021. And now I have this residency here in IBIZA. I have so many dates this year, which I'm also like so excited to play. I love being on stage. I think it's the place for me to be. Like, I'm more nervous being off stage than being on stage, which is kind of the wrong way around.
Amazing experience now, finally playing with the huge crowd.
Yes.
And
I mean, the people, I feel like there's this summer like gratitude and like euphoria finally back that we're able to play again.
yeah,
And there's so much energy, pent-up energy, like in the clubs everywhere, and I'm just so grateful to be able to like celebrate my music, but also celebrate music in general with so many people, and yeah, have an awesome Hey, I'm JOPLYN, and you're listening to IBIZA Live Radio. See you tonight at High, where I'm playing with Black Coffee and Damien Lazarus. See you there. Spreading love. Lady Gaga, when I was 6, and I remember she had this like castle on the stage, and that was like her, like you know, when she was up there in the charts with all of these hits. I was the biggest fan, and she had these like crazy costumes, was riding around on monsters that were going in and out of the castle. It was like a big experience in Berlin, in the O2 World. Yeah, that was my first concert, and that was definitely a peak experience, concert experience, probably like the craziest one I've ever been to this day. Fun. I actually took dance lessons very long, like contemporary dance, but I was never very good at it. But I guess I do martial arts. I can do a pretty high kick, so maybe that. Buying my first like vocal effects pedal. Because when I play live, I play around a lot with my vocals and like do effecting, pitch them up and down, or like work with delay. And I remember that was like a big investment, pretty early in the beginning. Yeah. Always been about really mixing like very different types of music together and like seeing, for example, what happens when you mix classical music with oriental music with electronic, having my voice there. I think like so much has already been done that you can't really reinvent the wheel. All you can really do is recombine things that already exist. And the way I see it is that my music is post-genre, so I don't like confining myself to one genre. I kind of do what I feel like and mix a lot of stuff together, and I think there's always like this really interesting new soundscapes that are created through that. So that's kind of my mantra. Start again. Walk through the streets and we'd always be the two girls with the panties on their heads. So if you were in Berlin around like the 2000s and saw us, yes, that was me. Dogs. Sun rises. I think the sea. Depends on the weather, but I guess if the sun is shining, then I'm always happy to be outdoors. But I also love myself like a real dark and dirty Berlin club. That's where I grew up. I'm super into NFTs these days, but I also love museums. I mean, and essentially they're the same thing, just on different platforms. It's all about the art, and I love getting inspired by art. My God. If I started counting them, we'd be here like till tomorrow. But I don't want to lie, but probably around like at least probably around 100.
It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
It was so nice talking to you too. Bye.